Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
So what am I talking about today? Well, it's all about flooding fears, how to, if you're going to flood, do it properly in a way that is comfortable, easy, and it just makes sense. And it uses your own unique skill. And I'll explain about what that is, well, during the podcast. But I think you'll enjoy this. And there's a lovely procedure right at the end, just to get over problems, create massive, brilliant outcomes for your life. Okay? So have a great listen, and I really hope you enjoy this. Personal development unplugged. Hey, welcome to Personal Development Unplugged. And if it's your first time, here's by way of a quick explanation about where you are and what you're going to find. And if you're not new to the PDU and you're returning, just fast forward, say about a minute, and we'll be straight on with the show. My name's Paul Clough. I'm a hypnotherapist, but I'm also a master hypnotist, an NLP trainer, and I just like helping people work with their minds to make dramatic, wonderful changes in their lives, to feel good. And that's it really, feel good. So the whole point of this is the genre of personal development has become so blooming complicated, been made complicated by people who want to make it complicated. And it's my aim to break down that complication, make things simple. Einstein said, in simplicity, there's genius, and we're going to go for that genius. So create processes, break them down, give you things you can use that really will change your life. There you go. That's it. Imagine this. You've been doing some trainings, helping other trainers to do their trainings, and you're doing your first solo training. That's a bit, gets your old heart racing a little bit as you think about it. You know your stuff, but you're not, you've never quite done it by yourself. So that's, a little bit of anxiety will probably creep in, won't it? And then you get the phone call to explain exactly how many people are going to come along. You see, this is what happened to me. I got the phone call saying, there's 16 people and they're all really looking forward to coming to hear what you say and learn what you're going to teach them. And I thought, great, 16 people. I've worked with other trainers, my son, doing trainings, and with as many people as that, even a few more. So 16 people's okay. And then as the date got closer, and I had a few more phone calls with the people who were bringing me along, they said, the 60 people are really looking. I said, excuse me? 60? I thought you said 16. Oh no, there's 60 people. Now, that did make my heart go a little bit of a flutter. And I could have done what a lot of us do. I could have flooded. Well, first of all, I could have just imagined the worst possible thing happening, get my most negative belief that I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I'm an imposter, who would want to listen to me, I don't really know what I'm talking about, all those wonderful things that are going to empower you to do your best. And it was a matter of doing it. And in some ways, it was an experience by flooding, because there's no way I could back out. So I went to that training. I did all my prep as I should have done. I got some empowering music on just before to really get me into the lovely state, not over the top state, but just to calm me down, to be me, because there's no point in being anybody else, is there? To be me. And I just did the training. And it was like getting rid of that fear by flooding. And when flooding works with a fear, you see, really, there was nothing to fear about there. That was my own imagination working against me. It was my own fear boundaries coming up. In fact, I enjoyed every minute of it because I was just with people who wanted to be with me. And if I knew that at the beginning, if I thought about it, I'd know that. I had something that they wanted to hear, and they were supporting me because they wanted to get the best out of me. So that type of flooding really works. But when flooding doesn't work, man, it doesn't work. And you see, that's why in the hypnosis work and the hypnotherapy work I don't use regression. Certainly regression to negative places. I know some people do, and if you're a hypnotherapist or a therapist and you regress to cause, but you regress in the true sense of regression, i.e. going back to that time and becoming that age again and hoping you're going to learn from it, well, that's your bag. But I don't do that. You see, I honestly don't feel there's any reason to go back to an event and relive it again. Because if it was fearful then and you go back to it, it's probably going to be fearful again. And it just reinforces the problem. So that's why I don't do that. I'll regress to happy times, resourceful times, all the wonderful times that would serve you. I'll go there like a good one and really learn. But you see, just imagine if you knew you were going to be flooded with fear, to get over that fear. Is that the best state to actually start learning, to letting go? I don't think it is. My intention is to prepare, be safe, and change as comfortably as possible. I think that's the best way. But that's just my way. But anyway, we talked about this on the 5-minute quickie, about this wonderful skill that we have, the skill that when we have something coming up which we're fearful of, we're frightened of, what do? We use this wonderful skill of imagination to imagine the blooming worst of everything that could happen. It hasn't happened yet. We're in the now and we're thinking about the future and we're putting in some real old tosh into the future, aren't we? It's a great skill, but not that way. The great skill is we use it to tell ourselves how we want to be. You see, energy flows where your intention goes. If that first training of mine, if I hadn't prepared, which is what that little anxiety was doing, that flooding wouldn't have worked. I could have had a disaster. That would be my last training. It wasn't, because I did prepare and I had some really good support. Now I prepare knowing I'm focusing on the most successful solutions, the most successful outcome, how I want it to be. I even put it in my timeline as a goal in the future to really to make it happen. And I'll explain that on another podcast, the wonderful things that can happen with timeline therapy and putting goals in your future. But as usual, we think of fears, anxiety, and the effect of them is, quite paralyzing sometimes, isn't it? It's so negatively emotionally charged that can actually cause ill health. It can cause so many phobias, fears, can cause ill health, depression, all this stuff. Agoraphobia, the fear of going out because you just don't know and you make it up. And we don't need to. We can get over this. We can change all of this because we've got this wonderful skill. And I'm going to teach you in a moment a wonderful skill. Or teach you how to use that wonderful skill you've got. That's a better way, because I know you've got it inside you. And I want to help you mold it, maybe, to have the faith or just the trust. Trust in, that's better the word than faith. Have trust in you and your unconscious mind that you have all the skills that you need. Therefore, you'll get it. Because you are so much more than you think you really are. And even as you think how much more you are, if you did think that, I can guarantee you with the old personal development Cluffy Unplugged guarantee, you're more than that. So where do we start in all of this? Now, I think, and I always say this, if this is something of, on a scale of 1 to 10, a 7, 8, 9, 10, find someone to help you. Go and see a hypnotherapist. Way back in my early podcasts, I recorded the things to look for in a hypnotherapist. So you get the right person, the person who's going to work with you, not at you, on you, but work with you. And they can then help you, see the whole problem and reframe it in your mind, do some wonderful processes and get you to be the way you want to be. And even when you've done that, you can use this other process I'm going to do for other problems that you have, other things that you're a little bit nervous or a little bit anxious about. And that will be brilliant. And if you don't want to go and see a therapist, I just have to say this because it does support this podcast. There is my Supreme Inner Confidence program, and there's my Free Your Life from Anxiety program. They're all on paulcloughonline.com. Have a look. You've got money back guarantee, so you've got no worries at all. But anyway, that's a second option. Yep, there's other ways to do this. So how can you do this, Paul? You could ask. You could ask it in that voice, or you could ask it in any voice you like, but better your voice. Now, I think we need to start looking, if we've got this issue, this event coming up, we need to start looking at the opportunity. Because that's what it is. It's an opportunity to be yourself and shine. But we need to look at it in a different way than you've been looking at it in the past. And I want to use this imagination stuff, this skill that you've got to create pictures in your mind, to create sounds, words, all your senses, your smell, your taste, and that feeling, the inner feelings. Because you've got that wonderful skill. We call it an internal representation, which will, when you get it right, will change your state, will change your physiology and your behaviors. They'll just have to change when you get it right. Even if you get it a bit right, it's going to make a massive difference. But I'm going to teach you how to get it really, really right. See, one way you could do it, here's just one way. It's a simple little way. And we use our imagination in a way that we know that what we're going to imagine would never, ever come true. I do this with people who have got flying problems. The fear of flying. This is not the only thing I do, by the way, but it's something I do that just loosens their model of the world. Because I ask them to close their eyes and imagine going onto that plane. But it could be you going into that situation. But imagine it happening in the most absurd way that could never be possible. So you could imagine them being smaller than you being bigger, their voices being like on helium. You can imagine them dressed in different things. Now, this is so ridiculous, you're going to say, but it is so ridiculous. Do it and try it. Because that's the thing. When you do this, and you do it so absurdly that it couldn't happen, suddenly things begin to change in your neurology. Feelings change. Because it couldn't happen, could it? It couldn't happen that way, could it? Or what could happen? I don't know. Could it be different? So there's all this things you could just play around with. And that is so absurd. And I've said that about 4 times now. But it's it will never happen. Ridiculously? It's ridiculous that they'll never happen. But this simple, different way of viewing the content of this situation you're going into will, I know, change the way you can feel about it in the future. Because it frees your mind. It frees your mind to do and think of other things, which could lead on to this next thing we're going to do. You see, I want you to use that imagination. So, first of all, and you might want to get old Jenny Journal out on this to start off with, because we might want to make a few notes, and she's always there for us. We need to think about our intention. How do we want to be, and what's our outcome? And then think of the state, our physical state, our emotional state that would be best to do this procedure with, this process. So it could be calm, it could be curious, it could be confidence, whatever you think, and it may be 1 or 2 of those as well. It doesn't have to be just the one. And just think of that state. If you want to, go and think of a specific time that you felt that way in the past, a specific memory that had that emotion. And if you want, go back into that memory, that specific time, go back into your body, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and just feel that feeling. And once you feel that feeling, go start this process. So start to think, how do I want to feel before this event is going to happen? Maybe write that down. During the event. How about after the event? Because there's so many different things you can be. You're not going to be the same emotional state through each one. And what's the physical state you want to be in as well? Describe it. Describe them rather in the positive. Now, Sometimes that's difficult. Sometimes it's hard to think of a positive. So write the negative down first and then reverse it. Simply just reverse it and then cross out the negative. And then as you look at that positive, you might want to change that slightly. So we start to get all the positive ways you want to feel and also the positive outcomes that you want. So it's not what you don't want, it's what you do want. Now, this is an aside. I worked with a lovely lady this week and she knows a lot of this stuff, but she needed some help. And I asked her to do one thing for me. Just think about what you want. And she sent me this lovely email with all the stuff that she didn't want. She thought she was being so positive about what she wanted, but they were all about what she didn't want. But it helped because we just turned them on their heads. So if you didn't have that, what would you want instead? What would be better than that if you could have it in reverse? So you get all the things that you want. Now then, what you can do as you do this, think of the things you want and the before, the during and after. And with each section, I want you to, as if you were to go into your own body and looking through your own eyes, notice what it would be like to have those feelings, physiology, being able to access the information you need easily, comfortably, and just notice how that is, how the people around you who are going to be in that context, that event, how would they be? And as you do that and you get a feeling for it, you could then just make a little note of that, but then go as if you were to float out of your body and go into either the person who you'll be relating to or people, go into each one and look back at you just to make sure that your message is coming across congruently, aligned. What is your physiology like? What does your tone of voice sound like from here? Are you getting your message across? Or is it slightly a little bit iffy? Let's make sure you really can communicate if that's what it is you're doing. But you communicate with your body, remember. It's not just the words. The words are one part. The tonation is even more. And then your physiology is even more than that. And when you put all three together, that's real communication. And when you notice that, you can go backwards and forwards between yourself and those other people and keep honing up that skill. And then when you think you're about there, just float above yourself, looking down and go, is this exactly the way I want it to be? What can I learn from this position? And as you learn, your unconscious mind will learn. And then string them all together because you've now got it. So now string the before, seamlessly going into the during, and then seamlessly coming out to the after. Just get it. And you see, it'll make so much sense when you do this. In fact, I will record a process for you on this because yes, you're going to have to use a Jenny journal. Yes, you're going to have to think about the before, during and after, but then you can let it go and I'll guide this through. So I will record a process for you. But what I also want you to do is just notice if this event went exactly the way you wanted it to be, what would be the last step that convinced you that it actually happened? Talk about this before, I'm sure, but it's like when you're going on holiday, what would convince you you've had the best holiday? Some people think it's booking it. Might not happen. I've got the ticket. The flight might be delayed. Oh, I'm in the hotel. Well, maybe not. But looking at the pictures maybe at the end, or stepping off the plane going, yes, it's been brilliant, or coming home and going, oh, telling all my friends about it and reliving that. That might be the last step. And all I want you to do is see that last step and feel the feelings of it. See it bigger and brighter, the sounds around you, and then just feel the feelings. Feel the feelings of what we call the wish fulfilled. Because you're telling your unconscious mind, this is the direction I want to go. This is what I want to have happened. This or something better. This or something better and even quicker than I could imagine. And enjoy the process. And learn from it. And use those learnings in everything else I do. Hey, can't get better questions than those. And I do know, then when you go into those situations, it will be flooding in a different way. It will be flooding wonderful feelings. And it's going to give you so much empowerment because you did it. You did it yourself. And you're going to be able to learn from that to even make it even more better the next time. And the ripples of that change will go far and wide in your world because opportunities they'll come your way because you're more capable of doing things. But also the ripples of change will go so far and wide they will affect others. We keep talking about this integrated field of learning. Once you do it, share it. And you're sharing it by being it, because you'll be the example you want to be, the change in others. So many things are going to happen on so many neurological, physical, emotional levels that you're just going to be that shining light that, shines lights in all those little crevices of the wonder of you and the wonder of possibility, empowerment, being at cause and creating wonderful effects in your life. Because that's how it should be. That's how it should be. And you can do this because, as I always say, you're more than what you think you are, and then you're more than that. It's crazy, crazy good, crazy good. So just go do it. I would love to know how you get on with this. As I say, I will record that process, and you can get that process. It will be on paulcloughonline.com/podcast. If you've already signed up, you'll get an email to say when it's out, and that will give you a unique link, so you can go back there whenever you choose and get whatever it is. And it'll be downloadable, so you can take it with you on any device. There you go. You can't get better than that. And all with my compliments. Yeah. So, please I always say so, don't I? I'll try not to. Please do share your feedback with me, because that's going to help me do what I need to do to grow and give more. Because even as you share it to me and other people, you're going to grow too. And that's what I want for you. We're going to create a wonderful world of everything. So enjoy, have more happiness than you can stand, and, enjoy every heartbeat. Live with a passion. Hey, bye-bye now. Have fun. And before you go, and this is a different before you go, I just wanted to give you another heads up that I have another program on paulcloughonline.com. It's all about supreme inner confidence and, regaining your supreme inner confidence, your esteem, so you have high self-esteem, supreme inner confidence, and, tackle the world with that wonderful set of resources that enable you to get whatever you want. It's a 6-part program. I think it's brilliant. It's got some wonderful hypnosis tracks in there, processes that you won't find anywhere else. I think it's good. That added to the Free Your Life of Anxiety program, that's there too. There's more hypnosis tracks, creating your inner sanctuary, deep relaxation. Yeah, and there's also, here's that thing, if you go there and have a read, have a read if you would. Costs you nothing, money back guarantee on everything, and it is a sponsor, as it were, for this podcast. Have a read, and then also, once you've had a read, just put /podcast, and you can sign up to loads of free hypnosis as I do them. All the ones I talk about in the podcast, they'll come to you online anyway. Drop into your email box, and then you can collect them, and they'll be like a back catalogue. So it's all good stuff. And do remember, please, please, please do share this with as many people as you can. Your friends, your not so much friends, anybody, because, they may be having issues, and we do want to help everyone. Because when everyone is, just feeling good, the whole world feels better. And if you would, please do go to iTunes and put a nice review on there. It just helps the show going from strength to strength. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Let's grow a community for good, selfless service, and doing the best we can, creating the world we all want to live in. Anyway, that was this new sort of heads up on a ending. Okay, enjoy, have more fun than you can stand, and as usual, enjoy every heartbeat. Personal development, unplugged.